Did you come here to forward your career and be on TV?
Do not want people to come here motivated by fame. That's not what this is about. It's not fair to the audience. And most importantly, it's not fair to the people right here.
I am here for the shade. I am here for the shade, and I love it. I love the fact that they were quick. Nick and Vanessa were quick to hold everybody's feet to the fire, and I also love the fact that we got to see couples from previous seasons that are still married. I'm disappointed that season 1 cast decided, outside of Gianna, decided not to come or do not want anything to do with the show. And for me, it doesn't make sense. If this is how you found your partner, then celebrate it. There's no need to talk badly about it, and there's no need to sort of try and distance yourself from it. It is what it is. Anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, season 6, episode 13, The Reunion. I actually really liked the start of this episode. It was interesting, this fact that they started from the pods and then they sort of showed who was going to be on the show, and then eventually had their reveal moment, which is part of Love is Blind anyway, and you get to see previous cast members. I get the married couples being there, but I don't get why Gianna or even Izzy and Micah are there. I know Micah and Izzy, I think, were on Perfect Match, so maybe that's what they're promoting, but I didn't get why. You have everybody appear, and even Jessica is part of the main cast, and it's like, but she wasn't proposed to. She didn't get a reveal. Is it because she had a breakout moment and the fans really liked her? Is this why we're keeping her on the stage? Anyway, we get to see Gianna and her new man. We know she was engaged to someone. It didn't work out. They were very toxic eventually. She says she was supposed to go on Perfect Match, but now she's found her person. She's happy she's pregnant, and so that's good for her. I like the fact that they only asked about the name and then they stopped and they didn't go any further. And the little clip that they had of everybody's proposal, including season 1 participants who have distanced themselves from the show, and it's like, why would you crap on something that gave you what you have now? Because if not for Love is Blind, they wouldn't be in their relationships. If not for Love is Blind, they wouldn't have the celebrity that they have. So at the end of the day, irregardless, I would still appreciate the Love is Blind for that, because without Love is Blind, a lot of things that have come in your life would not have happened. Yes, they might have happened, but not on the same scale as they have now. So I'm a bit put off by the fact that season 1 cast outside of Gianna only came. Everybody else decided not to attend. That was bad. I love Amy and Johnny. They are happy. They're in a good space. I don't know whether we're going to hear anything from them or whether we're going to see. They didn't even show us their place. Normally they would show us the couple at home. Maybe they're saving that till the very end. But they just quickly showed us, and then they swerved to the mess. And here we are. We're starting off with Jeremy. Sarah Ann comes out and Laura is in Spain, Barcelona. So it's interesting that, you know, Sarah Ann decides to kiss him on the lips, and it's like, this is disrespectful. This is not the environment. You're making yourself to be messy. So they start talking about this, you know, location sharing and the fact that they were out till 5 a.m. At the end of the day, this was totally wrong. I know people say second option. This is a second option situation. This is where it should be applied, because with Bliss never went to Zach to say, pick me. She went there to hear why he had been nagging the producers to say he wants to see her, but she never went there with the intention of saying to him, I love you, pick me. She never DM'd him. He is the one who had to follow her. Whereas in this situation, this girl, as soon as she left the pod, she DM'd this guy and said, if it doesn't work out, I'm here. And for her to now say she's living with him doesn't make sense to me. This is very tasteless, because if Jeremy can do this with her, imagine what he's going to do with the next girl, because he left Laura for her. And he's going to leave Sarah Ann for somebody else. Sarah Ann, I don't think, is his person. He's still looking for his person. He hasn't found his person. I love the fact that people like Kwame wanted the floor to open up and swallow them when the girls were going at her. Because they, Jess at the end of the day is Laura's friend. So she's going to defend her friend. For Sarah Ann to say, you're a pick-me girl, it's like, how did she say to him, pick me? He proposed to her. She chose herself and left him when she realized that he was still stuck on you. So how is she a pick me? She didn't fight with him to say, no, I want you to break up with her and come back home. No, she didn't. She just said, keep it moving, kick rocks with open-toed shoes, and off she went. So they showed a clip of Laura and Sarah Ann that hadn't been seen before, where they were having a conversation about the DM and the fact that, Sarah Ann and Jeremy went out and were out until about 5 o'clock in the morning. And so for Sarah Ann to say, oh, you guys were still on the show, I was in the real world and I just wanted to get things off my chest. And it's like, there was no need for you to get things off your chest in a DM. I said this before because at the end of the day, the producers are still going to have a meetup for the season, and people that had storylines that were sort of tangled would still be invited, and you're invited to the pool party. So you could have had this conversation with Jeremy at the pool party if you needed to. There was no need for you to DM him. Oh, I thought Sarah will just say it and just say, I at least I have. No, that's still disrespectful. As far as I'm concerned, both Sarah Ann and Jeremy disrespected Laura. That's it. They both disrespected her. Whether the DM was just her, Sarah Ann just trying to get things off her chest, or whether she did it with malicious intent, it was disrespectful. And for them to bring in Jimmy and say he's the villain, yes, Jimmy didn't handle his situation very well, but there was no need for him. Even he said, I understand where Laura is coming from, because at the end of the day, when I was struggling with my decision of who to pick, Jeremy said, at least I can sleep tonight knowing that Jimmy is the villain. And it's like, I don't know. It's very messy and very toxic, and it's sad that people's bad actions sort of played a negative part in somebody else's story. Nick and Vanessa came in hot, and it's to be expected because at the end of the day, they asked the viewers, tell us the questions you want us to ask and we'll ask on your behalf. So they did go ahead and they did ask the questions. They tried as much as they could to hold everybody accountable. They tried to make sure that everybody was heard in regards to Jeremy and Sarah Ann's situation. Yes, they were able to finally get an apology for Laura, which I'm happy for because this is something that she wanted. Because at the end of the day, they even brought up the clip that Sarah Ann posted to say, oh, this is reality TV, baby. I think this became a competitive sport. I said this before in my previous reviews that with Love is Blind, at times it becomes a competitive sport where people are fighting for someone's attention, and not because they have any feelings, but because they want to come out victorious. And this is how it's coming across. And I don't know. The bin dip comment I don't think was necessary to be discussed, but hey, it is what it is. This reunion is savage. Because I think Trevor thought since he was on this coming season of Perfect Match, the producers would be extra nice to him. Vanessa and Nick would be extra nice. And they grilled him. He was so confused that he malfunctioned. We could all see him malfunction like a robot in front of our eyes. And it was sad. People actually felt sad for him because Vanessa and Nick read his text messages between him and his ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend. And then they asked him to respond and he went, oh, I had this. So I think he had this monologue he had prepared for himself of what he was going to say. He didn't expect to sort of be hit in the face with his text messages. And so for them to do that threw him off. And he couldn't say anything. Oh, well, I was in a toxic relationship, so I was really looking for something genuine. And they're like, but if it was toxic, why did you tell her that you're going to marry her? Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And for me, I think, as they said, he did it for celebrity. He wanted the celebrity that came with it. And sadly, it backfired. And he's going to be very depressed. He'll need someone to look after his mental health because he looked miserable. He looked sad. He looked malfunctioned. And then he's now asking Johnny to sort of back him up because he's saying, oh, I know you people trust Johnny. And it's like, leave Johnny alone. Johnny's somebody else's husband. Leave him alone. He has nothing to do with your mess. So deal with your mess on your own. And then he said, I want to leave. And Nick said, you're free to leave. It was sad. It was really sad. And I give Nick credit for saying, when you come here, we want people that are here for genuine reasons. If you know you're not here for genuine reasons, please stay your butt at home. We don't need you here. Because we only want people that want to come here and get married and move on in life with the love of their life. We don't want people that want to come and make a mockery of the system, which is amazing. What do I think about AD and Clay? I don't understand. I hate bashing people, but at the same time, AD went into this with her eyes wide open. She could hear everything Clay was saying. She could see everything Clay was doing. So the idea that she felt she could change him, no. I'm not buying it. And for me, I know we all come with trauma, but at some point we need to stop using our trauma as excuses, because I think Clay is trying to look for something to justify his actions. He's not taking responsibility for his actions. No, he's not. He's not saying, I saw this and I don't like it, so I'm not going to do that. No, he's saying, because my dad cheated, I think I'm going to cheat. No, he should be saying, I want to be a better husband. I want to show up for my wife. I want to support my wife. I want to make sure that I have a safe space with my wife. That way I don't go seeking safe spaces in unnecessary places or in the wrong places. So the idea that you then bring Brett into his example and say, oh, I saw Brett and he was the example of everything that I aspire to be. Leave Brett alone. Brett said during his season that he didn't come from the best of households. He came from nothing and he worked his way up the ladder. And even Tiffany said, I never thought I would date someone without a college degree, but here I am with Brett. And so Brett knew what he wanted to be and aspired to be that. So for Clay to sort of use his trauma, I don't buy it. For him to say, this is the love of my life. If that was the love of your life, you would have married her. Zach proposed to Bliss within 3-4 days, and we all know Zach's background. He says his mom was a stripper. He never talks about his dad. Even at his wedding, I don't think we even saw his dad. So this is not excuse enough to justify Clay's actions. Clay was wrong in his season. Nothing can correct that. If I were him, I would have said, watching myself, I feel so sorry that I dragged AD into my mess. I wasn't in the best of places. Yes, he did say something along those lines. And now that I've gone to therapy, I'm a better man. I know what I want from a relationship. I know what I want in a partner. And so this is my goal. For him to say, oh, AD is the love of my life. Oh, please sit down. And for him to use Brett, leave Brett alone. You want people to empathize with you because of Brett. That's all I get. Because at the end of the day, he's just posted that crass video on TikTok. So I'm not buying it. I love Brett and Tiffany. I think they were great. I think they got one of the best edits. I said this before, that every season there's a couple that is drama-free that gets the best edit. And then everybody else, you're stuck with whatever you're stuck with. In Alexa's season, it was Alexa and Brennan. In Brett and Tiffany's season, it was Brett and Tiffany. In this past season, it was Amy and Johnny. And season 1, it was Lauren and Cameron. Season 2, they were both toxic in their own way, so nobody got a positive edit. So I'm not buying whatever, whatever Clay is trying to sell. I love that they spoke to Brett and Tiffany. So Brett and Tiffany seem to be doing great. They're traveling the world. They're enjoying themselves. And they really seem to be in a good space. They both come from a sort of a calm sort of space. So they really never really argued even on TV. And they don't seem to be people that are after drama or toxicity. They seem to be just easygoing people. And I think this is something that they have in common. They're planning on traveling to Japan and they're really doing great. They want to buy a home. I assume they're now looking into starting a family, which was amazing. I wish we had a pre-recorded sort of video from my favorites, Zach and Bliss, but hey, it is what it is. And then you have Johnny and Amy. Johnny and Amy are another calming force. They calm each other down. They are just there. They're just two people that enjoy each other's company. And it's interesting to see that most of the couples that are still married from Love is Blind are all people that just complement one another and are just wanting to do the best for their partner. And so it's very beautiful to see. And I really love this for Johnny and Amy and Brett and Tiffany. Anyway, they decide to take viewers' questions and I can't wait. The viewer questions are very sort of interesting because they talk about, Jessica's daughter, how she feels about her mom being on TV. They speak about Johnny and Amy and the topic of contraception. I think it was a teachable moment for not just Johnny and Amy, but for a lot of viewers that were, especially guys that weren't aware of the challenges that women face when it comes to birth control. So that was interesting to see. And Chelsea was then asked, how did you feel about Jess and Laura sort of speaking about Jimmy? Did you think the conversation at the bar was inappropriate? And she said, yeah, I felt some type of way because I was in the trenches. And it's like, but they didn't bring it to Jimmy. They just discussed it amongst themselves. They didn't bring it to Jimmy. So yes, it was disrespectful and it was shown on TV, but you would never have known about it if there were no cameras there. You'd never have heard about it. So don't make a big deal out of nothing. And then she says, I love you. And Chelsea's I love yous don't carry weight to me. Because every time she fought with Jimmy, she'd tell him she loves him. So, no, not buying it. So they ask about the sharing of the Jimmy's secret. I think it was wrong. Everybody can try and dress it up the way they want to dress it. They can try and put lipstick and whatever else they want to put on it. But the truth still remains. At the end of the day, Chelsea disrespected Jimmy by revealing a secret. If he told her in confidence and told her that I don't want you to repeat this on camera, and she felt comfortable enough to go and repeat it in camera, then she is wrong. There's no, oh, she was emotional, this was a real life. It doesn't matter, because every single time he's going to share something with her and tell her don't reveal it, she's going to reveal it because it's real life to her. What if he's talking about a family member and tells her don't reveal this to this family member? Is she still going to go and say it to the family member just because she's feeling emotional? No, she was wrong, that's it, let's move on. I don't care how much they try and justify it or how much they try and brush over it. At the end of the day, she ruined somebody else's image by revealing that. That's as far as I'm concerned. The Jimmy and Jess situation is interesting. I think Jimmy really liked Jess. I think the issue that she had a child is one of the things that put him off. And also the fact that Chelsea said she looks like Megan Fox is the other thing that sort of put her off, just because he didn't know what she looks like. And she didn't let him know what she looked like. So he then decided to move on to someone who was willing to give him at least an idea of what she looked like. And so him, I think, was sour grapes, whatever comment he said on the interview that Jess is talking about. And sadly, the producers came with the receipt. He said they spent 10 minutes and she walked out. And actually, you can actually see him. The first time he requests that they take a break, and they take a break after 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and then the second time they come back in after about 50 minutes, they then leave. So in total they were there for about 2 hours and 13 minutes according to whatever was shown. So I don't get where he was coming from. No, it was over 2 hours and 30 minutes, because if one was one, so it's almost 3 hours that they spent together. And so whatever he's saying doesn't make sense. I think he's just looking for justification. I think he's trying to make sure that he doesn't say or do anything that will upset Chelsea, because he's worried about her for, kicking off once he says something that she views as negatively. Because there was a video of them, Chelsea and Jimmy being out. I don't know whether they're still seeing one another or what's going on there. Yay! Finally, we get to see Bliss and Zach. They showed their baby shower. I saw the pictures online because I follow them on Instagram, and they are just ecstatic. And to see how everybody loves them from their season and how highly they speak of them. And I love that Kwame summarized it very well, that Zach and Bliss went into the experiment wanting to find a life partner, found their life partner, and traveled the world. I remember for their anniversary, they went on a cruise, they went through Europe, and then once they got back home, they decided it's time to start our family. They started their family and bought a home, and now they're, moving into the next phase. And so whatever their dream was, they've brought it to life. And this is what Kwame was saying, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see how Brett and Tiffany and Kwame and Chelsea were for them. And, Kwame was talking about they used to live 5 minutes away, because I remember they used to have dinner parties and stuff. So they're saying now they're living away in suburbia, so but we still talk to them every day. That was cute to see. And I love the fact that Alexa and Brennan also spoke about the fact that they're expecting. They didn't reveal the gender, but they spoke about the fact that this was a journey for them to come to. They went through fertility issues, but they kept trying. They did it in private, and now here they are. Their dream has come to life, which is amazing to see. Finally got to one of my favorite couples this season, Brittany and Kenneth. I am heartbroken. I know people were talking about outing him. I didn't see it. I'm not on TikTok, so sadly I don't get to see most of the stuff. I only get to see what's on Twitter or Instagram. Those are my streets. Everywhere else is too much work for me. I have a job outside of this, so I can't do that. So I like the fact that they had a conversation about, their breakup, the fact that Kenneth was always on his phone and how that affected them and where they stand as of today. And it seems they created a very close friendship whereby they speak to each other every day, they FaceTime each other every day. So for me, it's interesting that they talked about the fact that recently they've had a conversation that, so if we start dating other people, how are we going to navigate our relationship? Because are we still going to be talking every single day? Are we going to have to take some time apart, or what's going to happen? I hope they get back together. I really hope so, because they were an amazing couple. I love the fact that, Brittany said, you know, she didn't want to have sex just because she wanted to see if there was a connection, because at the end of the day, that's only one part of the relationship. And so it was great to see how much respect, compassion, love, and empathy they have for one another. Even Vanessa said, you really taught us how to communicate with the other person. So to see that they're still carrying on in that way is amazing. And I agree with Kenneth as well that people grieve differently. Just because he didn't cry or start screaming or shouting when they broke up doesn't mean that he wasn't grieving. But at the end of the day, he knows how he processes stuff and he's happy with himself. I really love the Chelsea and Kwame situation, because Chelsea and Kwame have come a long way. Given that they were in a love triangle with Micah, I follow them as well on IG, and they just seem to be doing themselves. If they're not with Bliss and Zach, they're out living their life, or you see them post about his sister. And I couldn't be happier about their transformation and their progress. And I love the shade that Chelsea threw, because one of the YouTubers made a sarcastic comment about Chelsea. I think Chelsea is one of the nicest people ever, or she comes across as one of the nicest people. So I don't know why people are always being mean to her. Anyway, you then, you know, have Micah and Izzy talk about the fact that they're on the perfect match with Jessica. And Izzy is quick to say that his credit is fixed, because we know that's why his wife said no on wedding day. So I can't wait to watch that. And I will be reviewing The Perfect Match this season. It was a great episode. I'm sad that we didn't really get to see much of Brittany and Kenneth, because I think for their age, they were really positive role models, but I think we were sort of straddled with this case of the love triangle between Laura, Sarah, and Jeremy. I think that took a very long time, and then the Jessica, Chelsea, and Jimmy situation took a long time as well. But it was nice to see everybody, and it's nice to see their success rate. I've always believed that if you go on Married at First Sight or Love is Blind looking for love, you'll find it. You will find it if you're willing to do the work. But if you go in wanting to be a celebrity, then I give credit to Nick and Vanessa for reading Trevor Fulfilled, because he deserves that, and people in future need to know that if you're going to go on Love is Blind and make a fool of yourself, then they're going to embarrass you and you'll have to stop. Anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 12. Bye guys.